At just 3 years old, the little dumpling is fighting to stay alive. Every day she has to outsmart the villainous family. While plotting her escape, she also has to act cute and clingy to win over her deranged father. But what she never expected was, besides that villainous dad, she also had 3 scheming brothers ready to beat her up at any moment. Long Chintao was originally an orphan with no parents, her life full of misery, until she suddenly won $1 billion jackpot, only to fall into a cesspit the next second and drown to death. Yet when she opened her eyes again, she found herself inside a luxurious room, with a cold and dangerously handsome man standing right beside her. Little Peach was completely dumbfounded. Who the heck are these people? The next second she was yanked off the ground. You're telling me this is my long-lost daughter? What daughter? Who's your daughter? Little Peach glanced down and realized her tiny hands had shrunk. Her heart skipped. Had she really transmigrated? And worse, into the daughter of this dangerously handsome man? Panicked, she burst into loud cries. But the man's face instantly darkened, as black as the bottom of a pan. Cry again and I'll throw you out to feed the dogs. Little Peach immediately swallowed her sobs, whimpering, so scary. This handsome brute is gonna beat me. Just then, a ragged-looking man rushed to explain. Yes, Mr. Longchin, she really is your flesh and blood. Look, this is the keepsake left behind by her mother. The little dumpling suddenly froze. Did he just say, Longchin? Could it be, she really had transmigrated into a novel? And worse, into a family where every single member was a deranged villain. Not only was the clan head Long Chenlai ruthless to the core, his 3 sons were each more unhinged than the last. The eldest, Long Chenai, a wolf in sheep's clothing. The second, Long Chenfeng, a twisted Yandra. And the youngest, Long Chenyi, arrogant and lawless. From the very start, Little Peach was abducted by traffickers, ready to be sold to this infamous villain for cash. If she's really my daughter, then tell me, what was her mother's name? The man froze, panic creeping in. He had completely forgotten to ask that detail. Longchen, please listen. I may have stolen this child, but I swear I heard with my own ears that she's yours. But instead of softening, his explanation only fueled Long Chenlia's fury. The one thing I hate most is being lied to. With just one glance, the man in black understood. A gunshot rang out. Bang. The next moment, the man was dragged away. Little Peach had never witnessed anything like this. Her tiny face went deathly pale. Before she could even recover, her eyes met Long Chenlia's icy, blade-like gaze. Get out yourself. With that, he loosened his grip, slamming Little Peach straight onto the floor face first. Of course she wanted to crawl away, but every man in black was armed. If she stepped out now, wouldn't she be riddled with bullets the next second? No, she had to find a way to survive. Gritting her teeth, she clung to his leg and pleaded in a babyish tone. Daddy, don't drive me away. Tao doesn't want to leave you. Tao doesn't want to be an orphan again. He kicked her 2 meters across the floor. Get lost, little liar. But to his surprise, Little Peach summoned all her strength, leapt onto him and wrapped herself around him like a koala, refusing to let go. Tao's surname is Long too. What if that uncle was telling the truth? Daddy, are you sure you don't want to think it over? Inside, Little Peach made up her mind. I'll just keep acting my heart out. No way he'll be cold enough to throw me away. Long Chenlia's lips curved into a faint smirk. What if it's true? Interesting, you're the first one who's ever dared to bargain with me. If you really are my daughter, I'll keep you. But if I ever find out you lied to me, you'll die a miserable death. Little Peach nearly cracked on the spot, but forced herself to nod in agreement. Long Chenlai casually plucked a strand of her hair and tossed it to the butler. That night, lying in bed, Little Peach tossed and turned, unable to sleep. She hadn't just transmigrated, she'd ended up 10 years before the novel's original timeline. But she clearly remembered, Long Chenlai never had a daughter in the story. This is bad, this is really bad. I must be fake. She had to escape before they found out. With that thought, she slid off the bed in one swift motion and tiptoed toward the door, ready to sneak away. Operation Great Escape starting now. But just 2.5 minutes later, it was already a total failure. This place is way too big. As she was about to stop and catch her breath, her eyes caught a photo hanging on the wall. That was when she realized, the terrifying one in this house wasn't just a single person, but 4 in total. Horrified, she skipped the idea of resting and sprinted even faster. After what felt like 49 endless minutes of running, she finally spotted an exit. And to her shock, there weren't even any guards stationed there. Freedom was so close she could almost taste it. Just as Little Peach was about to dash outside, a hand suddenly grabbed the back of her clothes and slammed her hard onto the floor. When she lifted her head, a white-haired boy was glaring at her with feral eyes. "Who are you, and why are you in my house?" Little Peach instantly recognized him. This was none other than the arrogant, lawless third young master of the Long family. "What's wrong, cat? Got your tongue?" The little girl froze, her mind blank. Inside she screamed at herself. Say something. Make up an excuse, lie, anything. Step by step she stumbled backward, until her back bumped into something solid. "Young miss, what are you doing here?" At the sight of the butler, Little Peach nearly burst into tears of relief. "Uncle Butler, you're my lifesaver. You couldn't have shown up at a better time." But Long Chinny wasn't about to let it go, demanding, "Who is she, exactly?" Answering third young master. "This is the master's daughter. It's getting late. I'll take her back to rest now." With that, he scooped Little Peach up and walked away. Long Chinny stood frozen, feeling like the heavens were mocking him. "Father secretly had a daughter behind my back." Moments later, back in her bedroom, Little Peach pretended to be asleep. But the second the butler left, she shot up from bed like a spring-loaded toy. She bolted off at full speed. "Goodbye, villains. I'm off to chase poetry, or maybe just snacks and freedom." Unfortunately, the mansion was just too massive. Not only did she fail to find an exit, she tripped over a rock and face-planted hard into the ground. Staring at the castle that looked like a giant maze, Little Peach finally gave up all hope. There was simply no way to escape this place. Why did everyone else transmigrate into doted-on little princesses, while she landed in the villain's lair, barely even settling in before facing an early grave? With this tiny body, there was no chance of running away. And even if she did make it out, she'd probably starve to death. Either way, it was a dead end. So why not butter up the villainous dad first and wait for the right chance to slip away? The very next morning, Little Peach transformed herself into an adorable little chef. After all, the way to a man's heart starts with his stomach. And she wasn't bragging. Back in her past life, she was a legit cooking master. But the moment she entered the kitchen, she froze. The stove was way too tall for her tiny frame. Still, she encouraged herself. There are always more solutions than problems. So Little Peach dragged over a small stool, climbed up, and was surprised to see the pantry stocked with all kinds of ingredients. "All right then, let's make a sandwich." Her tiny hands moved with surprising skill, each motion smooth and practiced. And soon a perfectly golden, mouth-watering sandwich was ready. Just then, a cold voice came from behind her. "What are you doing? Making such a racket this early in the morning?" Seeing Long Chinlai and his sons walking out, Little Peach proudly presented the plate. "I made breakfast for everyone. Come and try it." Long Chinny looked utterly disgusted. "It's just cake. It's not like I haven't eaten it before." But before he could finish, Long Chinlai had already picked up a slice and taken a bite, calmly remarking, "Not bad." Little Peach's heart bloomed with joy. After all, to win over her villain dad, she'd slipped in plenty of her secret recipes. On the other side, Long Chinny felt like he'd been struck by lightning. Father actually praised her. For the first time, he truly felt his place threatened. "No way, I can't let her steal my dad from me." Even though he was drooling enough to fill a bucket, he stubbornly refused to take a bite. Little Peach could only stare speechlessly. "Seriously, he's actually competing with me over this? Brother, are you sure you don't want to try? It's really delicious." The proud brat huffed. How good could it possibly be? Villain dad shot him a single warning glance. The very next second, the brat quietly picked up his fork, sulking. Why is dad always siding with her? Fine, I'll eat it. Let's see if it's really that good. But the moment he took a bite, the proud brat nearly saw Cupid himself. Oh my god. This is way too good. Little Peach blinked her big eyes and asked sweetly, "So, brother, is it tasty?" Instead, Long Chinny tossed his fork aside, turned his head arrogantly. Disgusting. Just then, villain dad slammed his utensils onto the table with a sharp clack. Both of them jolted in fear. Who taught you to throw things around while eating? Under Long Chinlai's suffocating pressure, Long Chinny trembled all over. Even little Peach couldn't help but think. With a dad this terrifying, no wonder all his sons end up twisted. She rushed to smooth things over. Then what does brother like to eat? Next time I'll cook it just for you. But at that moment, villain dad's voice turned icy cold. Don't think I don't know what you're up to. You're just trying to win us over so you can stay, aren't you? Little Peach trembled as she answered, No daddy, it's not like that. I just really love cooking. But villain dad was unmoved, his voice cold. The test results will be out soon. If I find out you lied to me, you know what the consequences will be. Inside, little Peach was crying. If it hadn't been for those armed guards at the door earlier, she would have bolted long ago. Yet in proud brat Long Chinny's eyes, what he saw looked like a warm family scene. Father actually chatting and smiling with her. Unbelievable. Father's never talked this much with me. Why does she get all his attention? Unable to hold back, he tried to strike first. Dad, tomorrow my school's having a sports meet. Can you come watch me compete? But his hopeful gaze was only met with villain dad's impatient scowl. I'm busy. I don't have time. Excuses. No matter how busy he is, he could spare half a day, couldn't he? That's when little Peach's mind lit up. If she could get villain dad to bring her to the school with all those crowds around, wouldn't that be the perfect chance to escape? So little Peach blinked her big eyes at villain dad, her voice soft and sweet. Tao Tao wants to go to brother's sports meet. Daddy, can you take me along? Villain dad frowned slightly. And what would you do there? Because Tao Tao's never been to a sports meet before. And Tao Tao wants to cheer for brother too. The proud brat's face instantly turned pink with embarrassment. His older brothers weren't at the same school and father had never once come to watch him compete. Other kids always had their parents cheering for them, but he never did. Though his heart was secretly touched, he still acted tough. I don't need you to cheer for me because I'm already amazing. Little Peach nearly swore on the spot. Seriously, why is this kid so stubborn? At that moment, villain dad's lips curved into a faint smile. Interesting. I can take you there. I happen to have some business to handle anyway. Hearing that, little Peach's heart leapt with joy. Step one of her plan was a success. On the other side, the proud brat was just as excited. Father was finally coming to watch him compete. But then it hit him. Father was only coming because of her. His expression darkened immediately. Fine, I'll take first place today. Then father will notice me and ignore her. The next morning, little Peach put on an adorable academy-style outfit. Finally, she was out of the Long family's house. But before she could celebrate for even 2 seconds, a giant hand grabbed her by the collar. There are a lot of people at school. Stay put and don't get lost. On the surface, little Peach smiled sweetly, but inside she was screaming. Getting lost was exactly the plan. Meanwhile, Long Chinny's eyes were full of irritation. Just wait. Today I'm going to shine brighter than anyone. Soon the race was about to start and everyone else was ready. But Long Chinny was still fumbling awkwardly with his number tag. Trying again and again but unable to reach. Watching the other kids get help from their dads. The proud brat was eaten alive with envy. That's when little Peach noticed. So that's the problem, he couldn't stick it on by himself? Seriously, this father-son duo. One acts like a mute, the other's blind as a bat. Put the two of them together and it's pure comedy. Suddenly, her little brain sparked. Wasn't this the perfect chance? Third brother, come here. Tao Tao will help you stick your number tag. Though Long Chinny was reluctant, he still obediently handed it over. Little Peach pretended her arms were too short, failing on purpose. Then she turned her big eyes toward villain dad. Daddy, can you help brother put his tag on pretty please? Long Chinny's heart skipped a beat as he carefully stepped up to Long Chinlai. Dad, can you help me put this on? Villain dad's face was as dark as ever, his voice cold. Turn around. The proud brat was instantly moved to tears. Father's actually putting my number tag on. Meanwhile, little Peach seized the chance to sneak away. Where are you going? The icy voice cut through the air. Startled, little Peach froze and immediately started doing warm-up exercises on the spot. I was just trying to stretch a bit, so I can cheer for brother better. Damn it, just when I was about to run, he caught me. Villain dad's lips curved. I thought you were trying to escape. Of course not, Daddy. How could Tao Tao ever run away? It's just, Tao Tao's tired from moving around. Can I have some money to buy a drink? Long Chinlai watched her with interest. Oh, is that so? And what is it you want to drink? Inside, Little Peach grumbled, "Why does he have to ask about everything?" The definition of a nosy adult with zero boundaries. Tao Tao wants something sweet, like strawberry cheesecake or puppy poop milk. With a snap of his fingers, the butler appeared instantly at her side. "Young miss, here is your drink." Little Peach's jaw dropped. "Wait a minute. The butler didn't even come with us. Where the heck did he teleport from?" But Tao Tao pouted. "This is too sweet that I want something sour, like kumquat lemon juice." "Young miss, please enjoy." Little Peach clenched her tiny fists. "Humph, no way you'll keep up with me all day." "Fine then. I want a banana chocolate milkshake, crystal grape juice, golden yaya oolong kitty tea mountain durian, and a freshly squeezed puppy poop smoothie." Moments later, the butler made a dazzling reappearance. "Young miss, here they are, all exactly as you requested." Villain Dad let out a cold chuckle. "Well, is that enough for you?" But Little Peach muttered inside, "I'm not even that thirsty. Though if there were desserts, maybe." The very next second, an array of dazzling desserts appeared before her. The butler bowed. "I wasn't sure of your favorite, so I prepared a selection." Little Peach scrambled to cover herself. "Daddy, maybe you don't know, but actually fruits are my true favorite." Beep beep, reversing. A massive truck rolled up, packed to the brim with every kind of fruit imaginable. Little Peach was completely stunned. "All I wanted was to sneak away. Did you guys really have to take it this far?" As the first half of the meet began, Long Chenlai simply scooped Little Peach back into the stands. "That's enough fooling around. Sit and watch the game." From a distance, Long Chenyi caught sight of this and became even more convinced. She was only pretending to be nice. All to steal his father away. Determined not to let that happen, the proud brat pushed himself with everything he had. "Today I'll win every single event. Father's eyes should only be on me." By the end of the first half, Long Chenyi was bursting with confidence. He rushed up to the stands. "Dad, out of 3 events I took first place in 2. Am I amazing or what?" Long Chenlai gave only a cold nod. But even that was enough to make the brat's spirits soar. Father had praised him. Yet Villain Dad's tone shifted in the next breath. "But as a child of the Long family, you should have taken first in all 3. The light in Long Chenyi's eyes dimmed, his joy fading into gloom until he finally hung his head in defeat. Even Little Peach couldn't bear to watch him looking so pitiful. All third brother wanted was a little praise, and Villain Dad just had to crush him. What a terrible way to raise kids. Yep, no doubt about it. This family is a death trap. So she quickly made up an excuse. "I drank too much milk tea. My tummy hurts that I need the bathroom." Villain Dad was about to escort her, but Little Peach refused on the spot. "Yeah right, if you tag along, how am I supposed to make my escape?" Watching this, Long Chenyi clenched his teeth so hard it felt like they'd shatter. Why does she get Father's attention so easily without even trying? If she disappeared, would Father finally notice me again? His gaze suddenly turned sharp and sinister that I'll make sure she disappears from this house forever. When halftime arrived, Long Chenlai prepared to take Little Peach to the restroom. Just then, the principal suddenly invited Long Chenlai to attend a board meeting. Little Peach's eyes lit up as if she'd seen salvation. "Finally, my savior's here. At last, I didn't give up for nothing." But to her horror, Villain Dad's first response was a cold refusal. Little Peach panicked. "Daddy, you should go. The principal invited you personally. It must be something really urgent. Men who focus on their careers are the most handsome. Right, Baldy Uncle?" The principal nodded furiously in agreement. As Long Chenlai hesitated, Long Chenyi tugged at his sleeve. "Dad, I'll take care of my sister. You can go without worry." Little Peach secretly gave him a mental thumbs up. Then she threw herself into her brother's arms. "Don't go too far. I'll come find you the moment it's over." Long Chenlai warned sternly, "Don't wander off." Yet both kids were harboring their own schemes. "Don't worry, Dad, I love my sister the most." Yes, and I love my brother." Once Villain Dad walked away, Long Chenyi suddenly pulled a judo move, flipping her hard. "Down you go." Little Peach had known it would turn out like this. Stupid brat. So annoying. She turned her head with a pitiful look. "Brother, what did Tao do? Why are you treating me like this?" Long Chenyi seized her arm, his smile turning darker. "Come with me. Brother will take you to the restroom." Hearing that, Little Peach nearly rolled her eyes into the sky. This little villain's plotting is written all over his face. His acting skills need serious work. Moments later, they arrived at an abandoned building. Long Chinny sneered, "Didn't Tao Tao want the toilet? It's right inside." Little Peach put on her best pitiful act. "Brother, I'm scared. Don't worry, I won't go anywhere, I'll just wait outside." She even dragged out her words on purpose. "But brother, you must stay right at the door and not leave me, okay?" Before she could even finish, Long Chinny shoved her inside and bolted off. Once the outside fell completely silent, Little Peach finally let out a sigh of relief. As expected, kids' minds are way too easy to read. "Did you really think locking a door would trap me? Did you forget there's still a window here? Bet you didn't think I could escape through that." With that, she scrambled up toward the window. But even using every ounce of strength, the window didn't budge an inch. Little Peach was dumbfounded. Wait, was this window welded shut? As she gathered herself, she realized the entire abandoned building was pitch black and eerily silent. A suffocating sense of dread slowly closed in on her. Memories of being bullied in her past life flashed one after another in her mind. Hugging her trembling body tightly, she whispered to herself, "Don't be scared, don't be scared." But then in the darkness, two beast-like eyes suddenly gleamed. The next second, a creature lunged straight at her. Meanwhile, Long Chinny rushed to Villain Dad in a panic. "Dad, something's wrong, sister." She ran away. "Oh, is that so?" Long Chinlai shot him a cold glance. Long Chinny stammered, voice trembling, "It's true, Dad. Look, she even left a farewell letter." Long Chinlai unfolded the crumpled letter. Scrawled on it were the words, "I don't like Daddy. I'm leaving. Don't miss me." His gaze darkened. Looks like she really did run away. Long Chinny's lips curved into a secret smile. Seems father bought it. But then Villain Dad muttered coldly, "Still, there are spelling mistakes here. Clearly this child wasn't taught properly." Impossible. I even looked them up in the dictionary before writing." The moment the words slipped out, his face went pale. He realized he'd exposed himself. Villain Dad stepped closer and closer, his voice icy. "Where is she? If you're lying, you know the consequences." A chill ran down Long Chinny's spine, his legs trembling. Meanwhile, Little Peach cowered in the corner of the dark room, clutching a broom for defense. Suddenly, a massive rat scurried out. The little girl shrieked, swinging the broom wildly in panic. Girl and rat clashed in the darkness for what felt like 300 rounds. Just then, a beam of light cut through the gloom as the iron door creaked open. And there stood Long Chinny, his expression cold and grim as he stepped inside. The moment Little Peach saw Villain Dad, her eyes brimmed with tears, threatening to spill over. Just then, the rat let out a squeak, sending her into a panicked scream. Villain Dad shot it a single cold glance. The rat's eyes bulged like beads and it bolted out in a frantic dash. Even a rat can't withstand him. This villain is way too terrifying to mess with. Villain Dad crooked his finger, voice icy. "Come here." With a cry, Little Peach threw herself into his arms. "Daddy, you finally came." Long Chinny froze for a moment, then crouched down to gently pat her small head. But Little Peach instantly clung onto him, smearing snot and tears all over his clothes. Long Chinlai stiffly patted her back, his movements awkward and restrained. At this point, Long Chinny didn't dare act up anymore. He carefully stepped forward and muttered an apology. Villain Dad shot him a cold glance. "You should apologize to her." The proud brat instantly stood at attention and shouted at the top of his lungs, "Sister, I'm sorry." Long Chinlai added flatly, "Whether you're forgiven is her choice. You should still be punished." Long Chinny panicked even more. "Great, she's definitely going to throw me under the bus now. Dad and sister are both big bullies." Little Peach wiped her tears, and with Villain Dad backing her up, her confidence soared. She strode toward Long Chinny, full of intimidating momentum. What is she doing? How's she planning to punish me? But the next second, Little Peach simply took his hand. "Brother didn't mean it, right? It's okay. Tao Tao forgives brother." The proud brat's face flushed crimson. She actually said she forgives me? No. Who asked her for forgiveness anyway? And brother won't ever treat Tao Tao like that again, right? Looking into her innocent wide eyes, Long Chinny awkwardly turned his head and muttered, "Fine. I won't, never again." Little Peach immediately threw herself into his arms. "Third brother is the best. Tao likes third brother the most." "Ah." Well, I mean, I'm just okay. Not that great. The proud young master of the Long family was easily handled. Her childhood psychology lessons from her past life weren't wasted after all. Long Chenlia's lips curved slightly as he watched them. This little brat. Interesting. Moments later, they returned to the field as the 100-meter final was about to begin. From the stands, Little Peach shouted at the top of her lungs to cheer for her brother. On the surface, the proud brat looked utterly annoyed. But inside he was over the moon. This clingy little sister. What am I supposed to do if she worships me every single day? The race officially began and the proud brat's eyes burned with determination. That wild girl admires me so much. I have to win this race that I can't let her down. At the crack of the starting gun, Long Chenli shot forward, taking the lead. Seeing Little Peach cheering her lungs out for him from the stands, his heart swelled with pride. But in that split second of distraction, a foot deliberately tripped him. The next moment he crashed hard onto the track. Little Peach panicked instantly at the sight. Even the cold-faced villain dad felt his heart skip a beat. By the time Long Chenli scrambled up, the others had already left him far behind. Catching sight of Little Peach and villain dad in the distance, he urged himself on. Get up, Long Chenli. Dad and that wild girl are both watching. You have to take first place. Stumbling, gritting his teeth through the pain, he forced himself to keep running. But by the time he crossed the finish line, the top 3 had already been decided. Staring at the cheering crowd, the pride in his eyes faded into quiet disappointment. I didn't win first. Father and that wild girl must be so disappointed in me. Just then, the boy who tripped him swaggered over. Well, dead last, huh? Bet your dad doesn't even like you anymore, loser. Before Long Chenli could reply, Little Peach jumped in front. My brother got hurt but still finished the whole race. Could you do that? To me, he's number 1. You tripped him on purpose. You're the bad one. You don't deserve first place. Did I end my heart? He's the real champion. The boy flushed with anger and raised a hand toward Little Peach. But in the next instant, someone stepped in. Try laying a hand on my sister, I dare you. Outmatched in both fight and words, the boy slunk away in shame. When Long Chenli approached, the proud brat lowered his head, voice heavy with guilt. I'm sorry, Dad, that I didn't win a medal this time. Yet villain dad wasn't angry at all. Instead, he reached out and ruffled his son's hair with rare gentleness. It's all right, you did well. I saw brother finish the entire race even though he was hurt and never gave up. Tao Tao is proud of you. For the first time, the proud brat felt father's warmth. All his pent-up bitterness and grievance burst out, and he clung to his father's shoulder, bawling uncontrollably. By the time they returned to the Long residence that night, the 2 little ones had already fallen fast asleep in the car. Villain dad simply hoisted one on each shoulder and carried them back to their rooms. The heartwarming sight left the butler and servants completely stunned. This is the first time we've ever seen Sir so gentle with children. Was he possessed by someone else? Moments later, the 2 were tucked into bed, sleeping soundly. Watching them, villain dad let out a quiet sigh. Indeed, brats are only cute when they're asleep. Yet on the bed, the 2 were only pretending to sleep. Wait, did daddy just say I'm cute? Excuse me. Does that mean I'm not cute the rest of the time? Villain dad pulled the blanket over them and thought back to the scene at school, his heart unexpectedly heavy. This was the first time since their birth that they'd ever held on to him like that. He really had neglected them because of work. So this is what it feels like to be relied on. Meanwhile, Little Peach had her own thoughts. Guess today's fall really hurt. I'd better practice wrestling in secret. Next time I'll be ready. Still pretending to sleep, Long Chenli was so touched he nearly wept. Finally, Dad's going to take me out to play. Meanwhile, Little Peach rolled her eyes so hard they almost stuck. He cried because he got hurt, duh. Blind straight man, father and son, honestly. Just then the butler pushed the door open. Long Chenli immediately raised a finger to his lips, signaling him not to wake the children. Once villain dad left, Little Peach instantly sat up. Nag, 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 finally he's gone. She hopped off the bed, ready to sneak back to her own room. But then she remembered the brother behind her. Is third brother really asleep? Fine. Guess he cried himself tired. Though maybe crying isn't all bad, at least now we know how he feels. The proud brat kept up his act, not daring to make a sound, though inside he muttered, busybody. Little Peach climbed back up and gently patted his head. Good night, third brother. Sweet dreams. I'll be going now. With that, she skipped off down the hall. The proud brat was left blushing furiously, feeling like his heart might leap right out of his chest. The next morning, Little Peach was up early in the kitchen preparing breakfast. But for some reason she couldn't shake the feeling that someone was staring at her. Who's there? She grabbed an onion and hurled it behind her. Long Chinny scrambled to catch it. Third brother, what are you doing in the kitchen? Of course, the proud brat would never admit he wanted to help. Obviously, I came to get food. He even took a bite straight out of the onion, tears streaming down his face, but his pride kept his mouth tough. I've loved onions since I was a kid. Wow, third brother, that's a very special hobby. Anyway, what do you want for breakfast? You don't like sandwiches, right? Should I make pancakes? Or maybe a dog poop cake? Sandwich is fine. Little Peach blinked. Didn't you say you didn't like it? The proud brat stammered for a long moment. It's just, I'm a little hungry. Sandwich is convenient, that's all. It's not like I actually like it. Right, whatever you say. Stubborn mule. Moments later, as soon as breakfast hit the table, the proud brat grabbed a sandwich and devoured it like a starving wolf. Clearly he likes it. What a tsundere liar. Little Peach forked up a strip of bacon and popped it into her mouth. Instantly, bliss spread across her face. Bacon is heavenly. A few more bites and her plate was nearly empty. Watching her enjoy herself, Long Chinny glanced back at his own plate, gulping hard as if making a huge decision. Then with a sudden move he speared his bacon and plunked it onto Little Peach's plate. I hate bacon the most. From now on you'll eat all of mine. Got it? Little Peach froze, utterly baffled. Huh? What's that supposed to mean? Seeing her hesitate, the brat's frosty expression softened into something almost pleading. Noticing scrambled eggs stuck at the corner of his mouth, Little Peach pointed at her own lips to hint at him. But in his eyes, the gesture looked exactly like her begging sweetly for scrambled eggs. So that's it, she wants the eggs. Without hesitation, he dumped all his scrambled eggs into her plate. They're overcooked today. You finish them. That's when Little Peach realized something was off. Suddenly, a bold idea popped into her head. Wow, today's milk tastes amazing. But why did it run out so quickly? The proud brat immediately waved to the servants. Go. Tell the kitchen to prepare 100 more servings of milk. Little Peach secretly rejoiced. I knew it. He's trying to show me goodwill. Weird method, but it feels like I'm one step closer to success. Meanwhile, Long Chinny was secretly pleased. Is the milk really that good? She looks way too happy just drinking it. He immediately ordered the servants. From now on, every meal, make sure she gets 3 extra glasses of milk. Little Peach nearly dropped dead on the spot. 4 glasses of milk every meal. Might as well finish me off already. At that moment, Villain Dad walked in, his brows furrowed at the sight of breakfast. These? You made them? Little Peach looked up at him with hopeful eyes, practically begging for praise. Yes. Last time Daddy said he liked them, so I made more. But his face instantly darkened. Don't make them again, understand? Outwardly, the little girl nodded obediently, but inside she couldn't help grumbling. Villain Dad's moods flip faster than a storm. So scary. I really need to find a way to escape or my poor heart won't last long. Leave these trivial chores to the servants. You need to remember your status. Before Long Chinlai could finish speaking, the butler rushed in. Sir, the young lady's DNA results are out. All 3 froze. Little Peach's heart instantly sank. It's over. My good days are finished. Long Chinlai frowned slightly. He had just started to form some bond with the girl, and yet the results had come back so soon. He lifted his gaze and shot a cold glance at Tout, sending sweat pouring down her back. Daddy, hurry up and open it. Outwardly she forced herself to stay calm, but inside she was in full panic. Somebody please save me. What are the odds I could snatch that report and destroy it right now? 0. Absolutely 0. Beside her, the proud brat looked worried. Sister, are you hot? Here, use this towel. Yeah, kind of hot. Little Peach took the towel, wiped her face, only to wring out enough sweat to fill a basin. Long Chinlai let out a cold laugh and reached to tear open the envelope. On his usually stoic face, a flicker of tension actually appeared. The first time he laid eyes on Little Peach, she had reminded him of that woman. That was the only reason he let her stay. But how could she possibly be my daughter? The thought made his chest tighten with irritation. It was the first time the butler had ever seen his master like this. Long Chenlai had clearly said before that the girl would only stay temporarily until a proper orphanage was found. Yet now, it seemed as if he cared, perhaps even wanted her to remain. When his eyes fell on the report, he froze on the spot. Bold letters stared back at him. Biological child confirmed. Long Chenlai lifted his gaze, staring at little Peach with a grave expression that she's really my daughter? Not understanding what was happening, little Peach felt her heart sink. Judging by that look, my whole transmigration career is about to end here. But in the next second, Long Chenlai slammed the table. Tell me immediately, where is that woman? Little Peach nearly turned to stone. That woman? Who on earth is he talking about? Long Chenlai slammed the DNA report onto the desk. Where is your birth mother? Little Peach's eyes went wide in shock. No way. No way. I really am Villain Dad's biological daughter. As he stepped closer and closer, her whole body trembled in fear. I'm sorry, Daddy, I don't know. I only remember waking up here. Everything before that is gone. Sensing the tension, the butler quickly stepped in. Sir, the young lady is still very small. Perhaps the trauma of the kidnapping caused her to lose parts of her memory. Long Chenlai let out an irritated sigh. Enough. Send people to investigate now. Later that night, back in his study, he pulled out a photo long buried in dust. Impressive. You betrayed me, left without a word, and even bore my child behind my back. You'd better pray I never find you, because if I do, you're dead. The next morning, little Peach looked exhausted. After being scared half to death by Villain Dad, she'd spent the whole night trapped in nightmares. Still, it felt surreal. She really was his daughter. But the novel never mentioned him having one. In the original story, all 4 men of the villain family were nothing but cannon fodder to push the male and female leads together. Even if her life was safe for now, sticking with a house full of cannon fodder probably meant she'd end up the same way. Just then, the butler entered. Good morning, young miss. This is something the master personally picked out for you. Little Peach's eyes lit up at the sight of the beautiful dress. She hadn't expected Villain Dad, with his terrible temper, to actually have such good taste. At that moment, the proud brat barged in. What are you doing in here? Breakfast is getting cold while we wait for you. Little Peach was struggling to tie her hair, but her arms were too short to reach. You're too slow. Let me do it. Little Peach looked at him doubtfully. Third brother, are you sure you even know how to braid hair? Though nervous inside, the proud brat kept his mouth firm. It's just braiding hair, right? Sit still and I'll make it perfect for you. His little sister hummed a cheerful tune, full of anticipation. But soon enough, the brat hit a wall. Braids looked simple, but actually doing it was another story. Left. Right, which way was it supposed to go? Watching chunks of hair slip loose, little Peach was dumbfounded. Wait, third brother, are you braiding my hair or yanking it out? Hold on, let me figure it out. Trust me, I've got this. Moments later, Long Chenlai straightened up proudly. Done. Absolutely perfect. One glance in the mirror and little Peach's face went dark. Perfect. Third brother, are you blind already? This looks like a bundle of tree branches. Just then, Villain Dad walked in. Why aren't you 2 downstairs yet? What are you doing? Little Peach pouted miserably. Daddy, we're braiding hair. Long Chenlai gave a cold, oh, his expression dripping with disdain. After a moment's thought, he actually offered to braid her hair himself. 2.5 minutes later, he looked at his handiwork with smug pride. Inside, little Peach was screaming, Daddy, what on earth are you so proud of? This looks worse than the tree branch mess from earlier. And my precious hair. Catherine, George, Alpha, Harry, Dogegg, all my beloved brothers and sisters fallen in battle. Watching his father's smug face, the proud brat's eyes sparkled with worship. Daddy, you're amazing. Little Peach nearly exploded. Amazing. What on earth are you 2 idiots proud of? Daddy and brother are both big dummies. Get out, I'll braid it myself. With a loud bang, she slammed the door shut. Father and son exchanged confused glances. Is she saying, she wants even more braids? Makes sense. Next time, let's give her 50 of them. Meanwhile, after finishing her braids, little Peach hurried downstairs for breakfast. Seeing her plate piled high with bacon, she quickly turned to thank her third brother. The proud brat grinned, looking goofy and smug. But then he suddenly snapped back. Wait, I never said I gave that to you. Right, it wasn't you. Watching the two bicker, Villain Dad's lips curved into an involuntary smile. Little Peach took a bite of bacon, her heart swelling with satisfaction. Maybe living in the villain's house isn't so bad after all. Just then a voice called out, "Father." The sound shattered her thoughts. When she turned and saw the newcomer, her heart lurched, long black hair with a faint red sheen. Could it be the second son, Long Chenfeng? She remembered the novel describing him as a complete psycho. Long Chenfeng's gaze fell on her, he stepped closer, studying her carefully. And who might this little sister be? The proud brat cut in at once. "Brother, you guessed it, she really is our sister." Villain Dad finally spoke in his usual icy tone. "Her name is Long Chintao, she's your sister. From now on, treat her well. Understood?" Long Chenfeng's eyes narrowed. "I leave for one summer camp and come back to find a new sister." "A sister, huh? How wonderful, that I just love sisters." Little Peach almost turned to stone. Third brother might be arrogant and bratty, but at least he was simple-minded. The second brother, though, was on a whole different level. In the novel, he grew up to be a notorious poison master. And even as a kid, he loved sprinkling extras into people's food. Watching Long Chenfeng pull out a piece of candy, Little Peach didn't even dare breathe. "What's wrong, little sister? Don't tell me you don't like candy." Hands trembling, Little Peach accepted it. "Thank you, brother. Phil loves candy the most." But breakfast comes first. Save the candy for later. Instead, why don't you try my latest invention, special pepper powder? With that, he went wild, showering her breakfast in spices. "Come on, sister, try it, it's delicious." Little Peach was dumbstruck. "Am I destined to die today?" Just then, Long Chenlia's voice cut through. "Enough. Stop this nonsense." For the first time, Little Peach thought Villain Dad's voice sounded like music from heaven. "If you don't want to eat, then don't. No need to force yourself. And you, Long Chenfeng, I told you not to mess with those bizarre concoctions anymore." The proud brat jumped in right away. "Yeah, second brother. Every time I eat your stuff I get diarrhea. She's just a little kid. Don't make her eat it." Then he quickly backpedaled. But don't get me wrong. I'm not defending her or anything." Right. Thanks so much, Your Highness," Little Peach muttered sarcastically. Long Chenfeng froze on the spot. How could this be? In such a short time, she's managed to get both father and my brother to side with her. This is getting more and more interesting. Right in front of Xiaotao, he forked a piece of bacon and popped it into his mouth. Xiaotao froze in shock. That stuff was dangerous enough to poison even the cook himself. But then she thought again. Wait, he just ate it so casually. Could it be there wasn't any poison at all? Long Chenfeng sighed with a look of regret. What a pity. Seems no one likes the things I make. Then he added lightly, next time I'll just buy something tasty. Consider it a little gift for meeting my sister. Xiaotao didn't dare move. His fingers brushed against her skin, sending a chill down her spine. Was this guy living in a freezer? How could his fingers have no warmth at all? She forced a smile and replied stiffly, "Thank you, brother. I'll look forward to it." That night, Long Chenfeng locked himself in his room, working on his experiments. Outside, servants could be heard whispering, "I heard the master and the third young master gave the young miss another gift. Who wouldn't like her? She's adorable, well-behaved, and so kind to us servants." Exactly. And ever since the third young master met her, even he started to seem a little more lovable. But as Xiaotao passed by the second young master's room, she suddenly met Long Chenfeng's chilling gaze. He spoke in a low, cold voice. "You've disturbed my experiment. Or is it that you'd like to join in as well?" The servants trembled from head to toe. In the very next moment, they bolted in panic. Inside, Long Chenfeng's eyes grew darker. "Everyone adores the young miss, do they?" His lips curved with a twisted thought. If her corpse were made into a doll, would she be even more beloved? The next morning, Xiaotao couldn't stop replaying the dragon family's tragic fate in her mind. In the novel, the third brother ended up in prison because of the heroine. The second brother's fate was even worse, driven to darkness by a love he could never obtain. He once plotted to poison the male lead, only to be killed instead, dying with regret. Xiaotao never imagined that even as a child, the second brother was already creating such bizarre things. Yet for some reason, whether it was the second brother or the third, she truly didn't want them to meet such an end. She wanted to change the tragic fate of this cannon fodder family, but she had no idea how. Suddenly, a knock came at the door. Xiao Tao ran to open it, her heart full of anticipation. But the moment the door swung open, regret hit her instantly. Standing there was Long Chunfeng holding a huge fruit basket and smiling brightly. "Good morning, my dear sister, that I brought a gift just for you. May I come in?" Xiao Tao's mind went wild. Seriously? Do I look like I want you to come in? Yet in the end she forced out a smile uglier than crying. "Welcome, welcome, such a warm welcome." Only after Long Chunfeng stepped inside did she realize. The real priority wasn't figuring out how to save the dragon family. It was making sure she stayed alive. Looking at the food her second brother brought, Xiao Tao couldn't feel the slightest bit of joy. These pastries. Feed them to the Monkey King and he'd be bedridden for 2 days. What a waste of ingredients, that if you can't cook, just don't. But after a few glances she couldn't help but swallow hard. Long Chunfeng leaned in and reminded her gently, "Go on, sister, pick one and give it a try. I'm sure, with just one bite you'll fall in love with them." "Love you, you big-headed ghost." Xiao knew full well. Her second brother wasn't forcing her yet, but his face clearly read, "If you don't eat, I'm not leaving." The next second she stole a glance at those dark cuisine pastries, their colors shimmering in bizarre rainbow shades. That only confirmed her resolve. No way was she putting that in her mouth. But for the moment she had no better idea. After a moment's thought, she placed all her hopes on her rounded little belly. "Come on, tummy, I'm counting on you." With pitiful eyes she looked up at Long Chunfeng. "Brother, I really love these snacks, but I just had breakfast. My stomach can't hold another bite." As she spoke, she picked up a small bamboo basket nearby. "Second brother, could you give me this basket instead? I'd love to use it to carry flower letters." Long Chunfeng's lips curled into a smile. "Of course you can." Xiao Tao cheered silently inside. Finally, a narrow escape. "Ha brat, you didn't expect me to pick this as a gift, did you?" But before she could savor her small victory, Long Chunfeng casually grabbed a pastry and took a bite himself. Xiao Tao froze on the spot. Savage. This guy dares to eat anything. Long Chunfeng smirked wickedly, finishing his bite and deliberately licking his fingers clean. "You've got good taste, sister. Seems you really enjoy the scent of bamboo." Shadow blinked in confusion. "Scent? What scent?" Curious, she leaned closer and sniffed the basket. A faint bamboo fragrance drifted into her nose. It was actually quite pleasant. "Wow, it smells so nice. Second brother, I'll definitely treasure this gift." Watching her reaction, Long Chunfeng became certain his scheme had worked. He let out a shrill laugh and began to count down. 3, 2. Xiao Tao stared at him with question marks all over her face. What on earth is he counting for? Then came the snap of his fingers. A sharp pain suddenly tore through Xiao Tao's stomach. She collapsed to the floor, writhing and rolling in agony. "It hurts. My stomach. Second brother, you have an antidote, don't you? Please give me the antidote." Long Chunfeng's voice was icy. "Sorry, sister, that I never made an antidote. Because of you, my family has changed completely. This is the price." With that, he turned and walked away without looking back, leaving Xiao Tao to suffer on her own. Curled up in agony, Xiao Tao felt utterly wronged. Was she really going to die? She had just begun to feel a sense of belonging, just when everything seemed to be turning for the better. Just yesterday she'd been thinking about how to help her second brother avoid his tragic fate. Yet here he was heartlessly pulling such a cruel stunt. Gritting her teeth through the pain, she forced herself up, grabbed the bamboo basket and lunged straight at him. Her small body pounced like an enraged little beast, locking tightly around Long Chunfeng's neck. "You brat, how dare you drug me? Fine, I'll fight poison with poison. Second brother, take a sniff. This basket smells amazing." But before their scuffle could continue, both of their stomachs growled in unison. "Bathroom. I need the bathroom, let me go first." The two of them wrestled desperately for the villa's one and only bathroom, battling as if their lives depended on it. And just then this oh-so-heartwarming scene was witnessed by Long Chunyu passing by. Scratching his head, he muttered in confusion, "Since when did second brother and little sister get along so well? Wait, are they racing?" Long Chunfeng was just one step away from reaching the bathroom. Desperate, Xiao Tao pulled out her trump card. "Third brother, help me catch him. If you do, I'll make you a sandwich tomorrow." At the mere mention of sandwiches, Long Chunyu zipped over in a flash and tripped Long Chunfeng within seconds. Seizing the chance, Xiao Tao dashed straight into the bathroom. The door slammed shut and Long Chenfeng's heart sank to rock bottom. All he could do was let out a frustrated fart. After quite a while, both of the little ones had practically emptied themselves, completely exhausted. Even then, Long Chenfeng couldn't resist teasing. "Not bad, sister. Clever move." Xiaotao shot him a disgusted look and snapped back, "Right back at you." Inside, though she was fuming, he's still laughing. "I was about to explode in there. Thank heavens it was only a laxative and not actual poison." Instead of backing off, Long Chenfeng grew even more intrigued. "Next time, let's play with something more entertaining." Xiaotao instantly sprang up from the sofa. "Bring it on, second brother. I won't lose to you." Just then, Long Chenlai suddenly appeared and scooped her up. "Xiaotao, what are you saying to your brother?" The moment she realized it was her father, Xiaotao finally felt safe. Her tone instantly turned cocky and domineering. At that moment, Long Chenfeng was panicking inside, terrified that Xiaotao might spill everything that had just happened. But instead she simply smiled and said, "I really love the gift second brother gave me." Long Chenfeng was dumbfounded, unable to figure out what game she was playing. Meanwhile, Long Chenlai gently pinched Xiaotao's cheek with fatherly affection. Then, without warning, he tossed her into Long Chenfeng's arms and instructed, "Take good care of your sister." Stunned once, Long Chenfeng was now stunned all over again. Only after their father walked away did Long Chenfeng regain his senses. "You didn't expose me. Looks like you've got another plan." Xiaotao grinned sweetly. "Brother, my belly is big and so is my heart, that I won't fuss over it with you." In truth, she feared that tattling would only provoke her twisted second brother and hasten his descent into darkness. So she chose to keep quiet. Even without exposing him, the tension between them still crackled, the two glaring daggers at each other. But in Long Chenyu's eyes, it looked entirely different. "Are you guys playing a game of who blinks first? Count me in." And so, the three of them started a cross-eyed staring contest, going at it until their eyeballs felt like they were about to spark. The naive Long Chenyu declared, "That was so much fun. Next time you have to let me join again." Xiaotao agreed right away. She was growing fonder of her carefree third brother. As long as he didn't turn dark, he was a good brother in her eyes. Unlike Long Chenfeng, who kept threatening her, making her wonder if she'd even survive to play next time. Hopeless case, she thought, refusing to bother with him. With a casual wave, she announced she was off to play. Then she wiggled her little bottom and trotted away. Watching his sister's retreating figure, Long Chenfeng only found her more amusing. It seemed he really did want to play with this little one. Ever since officially moving into the Long household, Xiaotao hadn't had a single peaceful night of sleep. Almost every night she was jolted awake by nightmares, leaving her drained and sluggish. Thankfully, with the maid Kelly's careful care, her wounded little heart managed to find some comfort. After Long Chenlai ordered that his daughter was no longer allowed to cook breakfast for them, Xiaotao always appeared last at the table. Even so, her villain father and cheeky third brother still waited for her to arrive before starting their meal. Seeing the little dumpling so spoiled and adored made the unhinged second brother feel deeply unsettled. So he tried to excuse himself by saying he needed to attend cram school, hoping to slip away. But before he could finish, Long Chenlai ordered him to take his sister along, on the grounds that Xiaotao liked playing with him. At those words, Xiaotao felt her whole world collapse. "Seriously, Dad? Did you even hear what you just said?" Father, actually, I don't really like it that," Xiaotao began, only to be cut off by her cheeky third brother. "Father, I like playing with sister too. I also like tutoring." That remark instantly amused Long Chenlai, his brows arching playfully. "Didn't you used to hate tutoring the most?" "Well, I just suddenly started liking it today." And so, the pitiful Xiaotao was dragged off to school by her two brothers, one on each side. Even though the three of them moved quickly, they still ended up arriving a minute late. This made their tutor, Vincent, furious. "Can't you learn from Long Chenyan? He's younger than you but far more diligent. He arrived an entire hour early." With that, his gaze shifted down to the little dumpling. "You must be Mr. Long's newly adopted daughter, correct?" Xiaotao nodded obediently, but all she got in return was an eye roll. "I don't know what Mr. Long was thinking, sending such a not-so-bright child to study. What a waste of my time." Faced with the tutor's so-called friendly greeting, Xiaotao still replied politely. She remembered Vincent. He had been teaching the Long family since her villain father's generation, and would later become a key catalyst in the three brothers' eventual downfall. Before Xiao Tao could think further, her cheeky third brother cut in. "Teacher, she's my real sister, not an adopted one." Daring to be contradicted only made Vincent angrier. "Sit down. Don't waste my class time," he barked. And so the first lesson of the day began, 3 long hours of grammar. During class, Xiao Tao still found a moment to quietly thank her third brother for his bold defense earlier. Long Qinyu puffed up proudly. That was nothing. But his pride lasted barely 3 seconds before Vincent caught him. "What are you whispering about? If you drift off again, get out. My classroom has no place for idiots." "Why can't you learn from Long Qinyan? He took first place in the midterms again." "And you, Long Qinyu, weren't you second to last this time? And you, Long Qinfeng, laughing are you? Always messing with your creepy experiments instead of studying. I truly don't know how the Long family produced such a freak." The two brothers' faces darkened at the tutor's mockery, their eyes brimming with defiance. Off to the side, Xiao Tao instantly sensed it. She held her breath. Oh no, their villain arcs are speeding up ahead of schedule. She couldn't let them spiral down like this. She had to stop it, and fast. Without hesitation, Xiao Tao leapt onto the desk with a thud, spreading her arms protectively in front of her brothers. "Teacher, you are not allowed to insult my brothers like that." Vincent nearly exploded with rage at being defied. "Long Tao, what do you think you're doing? Get off that desk this instant." But the little dumpling stood firm, hands on her hips, voice full of confidence. "I'm not doing anything. I'm just saying you can't judge someone solely by grades. For example, my third brother has amazing athletic talent. He won 3 medals in the last sports meet." Hearing his sister praise him, the cheeky third brother tried to act modest. "That's nothing." But inside he was glowing with pride. "Hee, my sister really means it. This feels amazing. And my second brother, he's great at chemistry experiments, and the desserts he makes are super creative. So my brothers are both really awesome." With the little dumpling's words of praise, the two boys' moods visibly lifted. That gave Xiao Tao even more courage. She pointed straight at the tutor. "You don't even understand your own students, yet you pass judgment so casually. With that attitude, can you really call yourself a good teacher?" Vincent was struck speechless. It was the first time he had ever been openly criticized by a student, his face twisted with rage. "How dare you? What? Teachers are still human, aren't they? Humans make mistakes. Why can't they be criticized? I think you're just jealous that I have such amazing brothers." Xiao Tao shot back without hesitation. Seeing he couldn't win against the little dumpling, Vincent resorted to a dirty trick. "Since you claim your brothers are so remarkable, then at the upcoming Long family banquet, let's see just how popular they really are." He was already savoring the thought of their humiliation. In previous banquets, those 2-inch useless boys had been silent outcasts, ignored by children their own age. Eventually, they stopped attending altogether. This time would surely be no different. Watching the smug look on the man's face, Xiao Tao felt a pang of unease. She knew it was a trap, but she had just bragged about her brothers. If she refused now, wouldn't that hand him the victory? Yet she couldn't simply agree on her brother's behalf. What if they didn't want to go? Just as the little dumpling hesitated, her cheeky third brother stepped forward. "Why not? I'll go." And right after him, the twisted second brother chimed in. "Count me in. Banquets are lively, I love a good crowd." With her brothers backing her up, the little dumpling was brimming with confidence, even reminding the teacher not to be late. But her pride lasted less than 3 seconds before Vincent barked at her to get out and stand in the hall, for disrupting class. This time, Xiao Tao didn't argue. Instead, she hopped down from the desk with a grin, thinking, "Perfect, I was just wondering how to kill time. Now I've got the perfect excuse to skip this snooze fest." As she reached the door, she even turned back sweetly. "Thank you, teacher, for letting me leave early." From the back row, Long Qinyu shot to his feet the moment he saw his sister leaving. "I'll go keep her company. Whoever wants this lousy class can have it." Vincent nearly had a stroke. "Fine, go both of you. Good riddance. 2 bottom rankers gone means no more interruptions in my class." But before he could finish, Long Qinfeng also rose from his seat. "Since my brother and sister are leaving, I see no reason to stay either." That finally broke the tutor's composure. He roared at them, calling them ill-mannered brats, while sternly warning Long Qinyan not to follow their example. Late at night, in the Long family's main hall, Xiaotao was asking about how her brothers had behaved at the banquet. When she heard they had just sat there quietly munching on snacks all by themselves, her world collapsed. Now she finally understood why that old man had singled them out. It was obvious. Her brothers had been completely isolated, which meant Xiaotao had a brand new mission. She racked her brain all night, desperate to find a way to make the villain brothers more likable. But no matter how hard she thought, no good idea came to mind. Worse still, she had no idea who to turn to. Since arriving in this world, the only person she knew was her villain dad, but he was a total workaholic, far too busy to deal with things like this. Just as Xiaotao was sinking into despair, a voice came from outside the door. It was the maid Kelly. "Young miss, it's time to get up." Seeing the little dumpling's heavy dark circles, Kelly's heart ached. "Young miss, is something troubling you?" That sudden kindness rekindled Xiaotao's hope. "Sister Kelly, do you know any way to make the children at the banquet like us?" Well, I remember that at banquets, people usually like children who are polite and gentlemanly, those who speak gently and move with elegance." Hearing Kelly's advice, Xiaotao felt as if a light bulb went off in her head. Overjoyed, she gave her maid a quick, affectionate kiss. Then she hurried off to share the plan with her two brothers. In the lounge, the three little ones began their hell training. But it didn't take long before they were all wobbling like exhausted rag dolls. Of course, the one slacking off the most was the twisted second brother. He sneered, "Why bother practicing this fake, pretentious nonsense? So what if they like us? It's all a waste of effort." Xiaotao had already expected such resistance from him. It was clear this training needed to be tailored differently for each brother. So she grabbed her second brother by the arm and dragged him into the kitchen. "Since you love making desserts, then let's make that your strength. If your treats are both beautiful and delicious, maybe that'll win everyone's hearts too." At those words, Long Chinfeng's expression turned icy. He had thought this silly little sister was different from the rest, only to realize she was no different after all. "Didn't you say before that my desserts were creative? So those words were just lies." Seeing his misunderstanding, Xiaotao tried to explain, but Long Chinfeng shot her a cold glare. "No need for forced compliments. As for the banquet, I'll handle it myself. Don't waste your efforts." After that, Xiaotao didn't see her second brother again, until the banquet began. At the banquet, the two little ones straightened their backs, doing their best to act graceful as they greeted the other children. But barely 2.5 minutes in, the cheeky third brother stood up too quickly, got dizzy and toppled over, crashing straight into his sister. Just like that, all their hard work over the past few days went completely to waste. The surrounding children immediately recoiled in disgust. See? Freak siblings after all. They couldn't even keep up the act for long. Let's stay away before they pull something even weirder. At that moment, Vincent, who had been watching the show from the sidelines, strolled over with a sneer. "Well, if it isn't Long Tao Tao, the one who made a bet with me. A few days later, and you lot are even noisier than before?" Xiaotao was about to explode at the old man's mockery, ready to curse him out, when a sharp cry rang out from across the hall. "Oh no! My priceless necklace has been stolen." The word thief instantly lit a fire in Long Qinyu's eyes. He leapt forward in a single bound and drop-kicked the thief to the ground. "Let's see where you run now." But the moment the words left his mouth, he remembered his sister's warning. Only a polite and gentlemanly image would win people's approval. Wouldn't roughhousing like this just make everyone dislike him more? Before he could dwell on it, thunderous applause erupted around him. "Amazing! A little hero. That's the Long family's child, right? Truly well raised." Xiaotao grinned proudly. "Hee, see. I told you my brother is awesome. Everyone's talents are different. Being good at studying isn't the only kind of greatness." Vincent, of course, refused to accept her point. He scoffed. "Ha! And what about that freak Long Chinfeng? I know I'm not wrong. Freaks will always be freaks. Is that what you call being popular?" Just then, Long Chinfeng approached, carrying a plate of cake. Sure enough, the crowd instinctively stepped back to avoid him. Xiaotao's heart clenched. Her second brother might be twisted, but he was still just a child. Being shunned and whispered about like this must cut him deeply. Determined to stop him from sinking further into darkness, Xiaotao steeled herself, picked the most normal-looking piece of cake from his plate, and stuffed it straight into her mouth. Xiaotao had braced herself for the cake to taste awful, but to her surprise, it was the complete opposite. After finishing it, she couldn't help reaching for another. Third brother, you've got to try this, it's really good. Long Chenyu, curious, took a bite with low expectations. The next second he nearly shouted, second brother, when did your skills get this good? This is amazing. With his brother and sister's praise, Long Chenfeng's gloom finally lifted and he gave a faint smirk. At least you two have good taste. But before the moment could settle, Vincent's grating voice cut through the air. How laughable. Are you children just playing house here? Do you see anyone else willing to bother with you? Xiao Tao was about to snap back in fury when a soft voice interrupted. Excuse me, may I try a piece too? It was a little girl. Long Chenfeng froze. He had never imagined that someone other than his siblings would willingly eat his creations. All around, the other children stared in disbelief. Yet after tasting it, the girl echoed the same reaction as the siblings. She thought the cake was delicious. With those first few brave tasters giving their approval, more and more children began stepping forward, eager to try. Xiao Tao's face lit up with delight. Turning to Vincent, she beamed. Teacher, would you like to try a piece as well? Vincent flew into a rage. I wouldn't touch that. Who knows what you put in it? For everyone's safety, no one should eat another bite. With that, he lunged to snatch the cake, and chaos instantly erupted among the children. At the crucial moment, Xiao Tao leapt forward and bit down hard on Vincent's hand. A loud crash followed. The plate shattered and the cake spilled across the floor, ruined. Xiao Tao's heart sank. Oh no, this is bad. Second brother looks ready to snap. She rushed to hug the unraveling Long Chenfeng. Second brother, don't be mad, okay? When we get home, make it for us again. This time I want a big portion. The other kids quickly joined in, chiming, us too. Next time we want to eat it at the banquet. With so many voices comforting him, Long Chenfeng finally cooled down. Since you're all so eager, next time, I'll let you try my newest creation, black macarons. Seeing her second brother return to normal, Xiao Tao finally let out a long sigh of relief. Xiao Tao immediately lashed out at Vincent. Teacher, next time you'll see, my second and third brothers will be the ones everyone likes, not you, you stingy old man. Vincent, still stubborn, snapped back. The three of you are idiots. From now on, you're banned from my class. Idiots. A teacher like you isn't even worthy of teaching my children. Hearing that familiar voice, Xiao Tao's eyes lit up. Her father had arrived. At last she had her shield. But Vincent showed no fear. Instead, he turned on Long Chenlai. Is this how you speak to your own teacher? Xiao Tao was stunned. So Vincent used to be father's teacher. No wonder he acts so arrogant. Long Chenlia's tone was ice cold. Vincent, if you can't even show basic respect to children, don't expect me to show you any. As of now, you're fired. Vincent was livid, humiliated twice over. His face burned with rage. Outrageous. Long Chenlai, I was appointed by your father as the Long family's tutor. You have no right to dismiss me. And what if I say I do? Long Chenlia's sharp gaze made it clear there was no room for argument. Just as the standoff escalated, the Long family's patriarch, Long Chenhongyu, Long Chenlia's father, arrived on the scene accompanied by Xiao Tao's eldest brother, Long Chenai. His voice was cold as steel. I'd like to see exactly who dares to drive Vincent away. In an instant, the hall fell into dead silence. Long Chenhongyu's voice rumbled low. What's this? No one dares to speak? On any other day, Xiao Tao would have been the first to jump out and protest. But this grandfather was even scarier than her villain dad. She shrank into Long Chenlia's arms, too terrified to move. Seeing his backer arrive, Vincent straightened his spine and complained loudly before everyone. Sir, it was the eldest young master. He said he wanted to dismiss me. For so many years I've given my all to the Long family. When the young master was a boy, I poured my heart into teaching him. And now this is the thanks I get. I cannot accept it. His acting was convincing, and as soon as Long Chenhongyu heard it, his face darkened. Long Chenlai, I require an explanation. Long Chenlia's reply was ice cold. The explanation is simple. I will not allow anyone to bully my children. After speaking, he cast a meaningful glance at his two sons. The little ones instantly understood and began voicing their grievances. Xiao Tao was the first to speak up. Daddy, I'm scared. Teacher Vincent was so fierce and he called me stupid. Long Chenyu clung to his father's leg, his voice trembling. Daddy, Teacher Vincent said I'm a sports freak, that I'm useless. Daddy, do you think I'll really turn out a failure like he said? Then Long Chenfeng spoke up as well. Teacher Vincent must have just been in a bad mood and accidentally knocked over my desserts. It's fine, father, I don't blame him. But right after he said that, several children in the crowd began chiming in, accusing Vincent of deliberately ruining the treats. Watching their response, Long Chenlai was deeply satisfied, silently praising these children for knowing exactly which side to take. Xiao Tao, seeing the fire wasn't quite hot enough, decided to fan the flames. You're my grandfather, right? Well, Teacher Vincent often used your name to oppress us, and he even treats my father like he's beneath him. To outsiders, it might look like Vincent is the true master of the Long family. Vincent panicked completely at those words, cursing, "Nonsense! What rubbish are you spouting? Sir, I only wanted the best for you. I pushed them hard so they would grow into talents. That's why I was strict." But after hearing the children's accusations, Long Chenhongyu's face hardened. He shot Vincent a vicious glare before growling, "For me? Or is it that I've been away too long, and now you think you can trample your master beneath your feet?" Before Vincent could even respond, Long Chenai, the eldest brother, gave a subtle signal to the guards, who immediately dragged Vincent out. Witnessing the scene, the hall fell into complete silence. No one even dared to breathe too loudly. Xiao Tao trembled, clutching tightly at her father's trouser leg, terrified that she might be dragged away next. Seeing the matter settled, Long Chenhongyu had no intention of lingering. As he passed his son, he gave a chilling warning. "Behave yourself, you wouldn't want this daughter to vanish, the same way that woman did." Long Chenlai froze, stunned. He had no idea what his father meant by that. But Long Chenhongyu ignored him, turning instead to Long Chenai. "When you return home, focus on learning the company's management from your father. Don't bring shame to the Long family." With that, he left without so much as a backward glance. Left behind, Long Chenai greeted his family. "Father, it's been a long time." Long Chenlai remained as aloof as ever, answering only with a cold hum. Then Long Chenai stepped up to his little sister, immediately complimenting her cuteness. This left Xiao Tao with a surprisingly good first impression. She remembered that, in the novel's setup, Long Chenai had always been raised as the next heir, living under their grandfather's roof. But as for how he eventually turned dark, Xiao Tao couldn't recall for the life of her. With the Vincent incident behind them, the banquet drew to a close. By the time the little dumpling crawled into bed, it was already deep into the night. No matter what, the day had gone smoothly. Both her second and third brothers had earned recognition from the others, and at last Xiao Tao could drift off into a peaceful sleep. But once she was asleep, a shadow crept silently to her bedside. It was none other than her eldest brother Long Chenai. He gently stroked her cheek, but his eyes were ice cold. "Sister, oh sister, why did you have to come back? Don't you know the one Grandpa most wants to eliminate is you? Years ago, Father was nearly bewitched by that woman and almost ran away. Tio, make sure you don't disrupt Grandpa's plans again. Don't blame me for being cruel." With that, his hand moved toward her throat. At that critical moment, Long Chenlai appeared, demanding, "What are you doing here?" Interrupted, Long Chenai showed no panic. Instead, he simply pressed a finger to his lips, signaling for silence. Then, as if nothing had happened, he fussed with Xiao Tao's blanket, carefully tucking it around her. "Father, I was only making sure my sister was covered. It's cold tonight, she might catch a chill." Long Chenlai glared viciously at his eldest son. He wasn't a fool, he'd never believe such nonsense. "Spit it out. What did the old man call you back for? You know the consequences if you dare lie to me." Yet even under that pressure, Long Chenye's expression didn't waver. "Nothing much. Grandfather values my sister greatly. He asked me to guide her properly." Long Chenye's eyes narrowed sharply. A grim suspicion took root. Could the old man really be planning something against Tao Tao? His voice dropped cold. "Go back for now. As for teaching your sister, you won't be handling that. You know me. I don't trust anyone." That remark only made Long Chenai smirk, lips curling with amusement. "Don't trust anyone, or just don't trust me, father?" Just as the tension between father and son reached its peak, the bedroom door suddenly creaked open. It was Tao Tao, woken by the noise. "Daddy, big brother, why are you both standing outside my room? Do you need something from me?" Long Chenlai stiffened, then covered with a cough. "Yes. Actually, I need a favor. It's windy tonight and I can't sleep. Would you stay with Daddy?" The words left Xiao dumbstruck. "Wait, me? Did you just say you're scared of the wind? You're a grown man." Before Xiao Tao could even think of an excuse, her gaze collided with her villain dad's icy eyes. Forget it, better not ask anything. The next second, Long Chenlai scooped her up with one arm. Since you didn't say no, I'll take that as a yes. The little dumpling could only cry inside. Who said yes? You're literally threatening me. Watching father and daughter disappear down the hall, Long Chenye's expression darkened. In the vast bedroom, the little dumpling kept trying to comfort her villain dad. Daddy, don't be scared that if you still can't sleep, I'll sing you a lullaby. Come on, lie down. For a brief moment, Long Chenlai hesitated, but then stiffly lowered himself onto the bed. Soon Xiao Tao's off-key singing filled the room. Wait, that's way off tune. His shocked expression said it all. But Xiao Tao only sang louder. Hee, shocked by my beautiful voice, huh? My big sister at the orphanage taught me this before I came here. It always works. And sure enough, it worked so well that she ended up singing herself to sleep. Gazing at his sleeping daughter, Long Chenlai couldn't resist pinching her chubby little cheeks. That face, it looked so much like her mother's. But what had truly happened back then? What could have driven her to beg him with tears to forget her? And then, after leaving, give birth to their child. Just as the thought struck him, Xiao Tao smacked him across the face in her sleep. Humph. That part's definitely not like her mother. The tyrant father then gently pulled the blanket up over her. For the first time, he even hummed Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star for her. Slowly, a strange, unfamiliar feeling welled up inside him. One he couldn't quite name, but it wasn't unpleasant. The next morning, the little dumpling followed her eldest brother to the dining hall. Spotting his daughter, Long Chenlai personally lifted her into his lap at the table. Tao, stay with daddy again tonight, will you? Without you I can't sleep. Faced with her villain dad's request, Xiao Tao didn't refuse. After all, she'd already been sleeping with him for a week. What were a few more days? The very next second, her third brother came bounding in, shouting excitedly, Daddy, look, I improved 20 points in math this time, and I won the shot put gold medal. Not to be outdone, the second brother chimed in with a smirk. Heh, I also accidentally snagged first place in the whole grade. Third brother burst out excitedly. Daddy, you have no idea how amazing little sister is. If she hadn't doodled all over my notebook, I never would have noticed those points, and every single one showed up on the test. She's incredible. Xiao Tao could only grin foolishly at the praise, secretly thinking, of course did I pick those questions out for you on purpose. Second brother leaned in too, adding, and the little flowers she drew were pretty cute as well. Watching this harmonious scene, Long Chenai couldn't help but sigh. Our sister really gets along with everyone. Then Long Chenyu piped up again, turning to his father. Daddy, since second brother and I both improved our grades, can we get a reward? Like, a vacation at the mountain villa. Last year, the lake was full of fish, grilled, they were amazing. Long Chenfeng shot back coolly. Right, and wasn't it someone who fell straight into the lake trying to catch one? If the butler hadn't been there, you'd have been fish food. Not to be outdone, Long Chenyu snapped back. Huh? And what about you? You roasted marshmallows so badly you gave the whole house food poisoning. Hee, still less embarrassing than someone falling in the lake. Listening to her brothers bicker, Xiao Tao's eyes sparkled with longing that she'd never been on vacation before. The thought of sitting by the lake and watching the stars made her heart race. Seeing all three children looking so hopeful, Long Chenlai finally gave a helpless nod. Find out a vacation it is. But Long Chenai stays behind. The moment those words fell, the children grew restless, none of them understanding why. Daddy, Big Brother's never gone out to play with us since he came back. Yeah. And Big Brother's the most mature and reliable one. If we bring him, it'll be way easier for you, Daddy. Even Long Chenfeng spoke up. It's been ages since Big Brother's tried my cooking. I want him to taste it. Long Chenlai, perhaps irritated by all the noise, was about to snap, until his eyes met his daughter's pitiful gaze. He let out a long sigh. Fine. I can't say no to you. We'll all go together. Yay. Daddy, you're the best. After breakfast, the three little ones eagerly began packing their things. Long Chenlai, however, slipped back into his usual coldness, warning in a low voice, "Don't let me catch you doing anything suspicious." Father, you worry too much. Before he could finish, Long Chenai felt a sudden sting on his scalp. It was his father tending to his wound. The injury came from when he'd accidentally hurt himself while fetching a book for his sister the day before. Didn't the old man ever teach you to treat your wounds right away? With that, Long Chenlai turned and walked off without another glance, leaving Long Chenai frozen in place. Yet in his heart a thought stirred. So father has been caring for us all along. I should thank him. Just as grandfather said, father really has changed, because of little sister. Because today was the long-awaited vacation, Xiao Tao woke up extra early. Finally, a brand new map to explore. I'll have Sister Kelly pick me a pretty dress and give me a stylish hairstyle too. The little dumpling was already planning away. Her villain dad's voice suddenly came, tinged with amusement. Awake already? You look awfully happy. Xiao Tao nodded obediently. Super happy. She thought back to how she used to envy other kids who could travel with their families. Now at last her own wish was coming true. Then her pupils suddenly shrank. Family. When had it happened? When had she unconsciously begun to think of them as her family? Before she could untangle the thought, Long Chenlai affectionately tapped her little nose. What's wrong? Why the serious face all of a sudden? And nothing, Daddy. I was just wondering, what kind of hairstyle Sister Kelly will give me later. No sooner had the words left her mouth than Long Chenlai leaned in close, murmuring, how about letting Daddy do your hair today? Staring at her villain dad's serious expression, Xiao Tao felt her heart skip a beat. Daddy, are you sure? I don't want some tree branch hairstyle, okay? No problem. Leave it to me. But the little dumpling didn't buy it. Her third brother had once boasted the same way and he'd still ended up looking like a walking shrub. Like father, like son, she muttered to herself, just as she noticed her villain dad flipping through a hairstyle book. Daddy, cramming like this right before the test? You're bound to fail. The next second, Long Chenlia's hands began to move. Xiao Tao's heart leapt to her throat. She had already braced herself for an ugly outcome, but still the tension gnawed at her. Yet her villain dad's hands were fast. Before long he was already done. Staring at her reflection in the mirror, Xiao Tao's eyes widened in disbelief. Was this really the same villain dad who once made her look like a tree branch? Seeing his daughter frozen for so long, Long Chenlai began to panic. What is it? You don't like it? No, Daddy, it's beautiful. I really like it. At those words, the villain dad's taut nerves finally eased. Just then, with her hairstyle freshly done, third brother poked his little head through the door. Tao, time to get up. Spotting their father inside, Long Chenyu nearly stomped a hole in the floor. Daddy, you beat me to it? I was going to braid sister's hair myself. Long Chenlai chuckled lightly. Well, that's what you get for sleeping in. Don't get cocky. Next time I'll be up before you. Listening to the two of them squabble, Xiao Tao rolled her eyes. Seriously? Are you both that obsessed with my hair? At that moment, second brother and big brother came over as well. With everyone gathered, the Long family set off for the mountain villa. The scenery there was beautiful and Xiao Tao plopped down on the grass, munching on a sandwich. Meanwhile, second and third brother were by the lake, fishing. But third brother swung his rod too hard, lost his footing and nearly toppled straight into the water. Luckily, Long Chenai grabbed him just in time, sparing them from another disaster. Can't you be more careful? Do you have to fall in every time we come here? He scolded. But Long Chenyu didn't hear a word. He was too busy clutching his backside and whining in pain. Once the little mishap passed, Long Chenai walked over to where his sister was. The little dumpling was studying the new dessert second brother had made, trying to decide which one to eat first. Maybe you. The next second, Xiao Tao picked up a cake shaped like a caterpillar. But before she could pop the cake into her mouth, she noticed it moved. Xiao Tao nearly jumped out of her skin, only to see her crazy second brother, Long Chenfeng, grinning wickedly. Sister, that's my newest invention. The wriggly frosting worm. Fun, isn't it? The little dumpling almost exploded. Second brother, you're awful. Here, take it back. I'm not eating this. Seeing her angry, Long Chenfeng hurried to make amends. Tao, I was just joking earlier. This is the one I really made for you. A strawberry monster cake. Go on, have a bite. It's definitely delicious. Xiao Tao muttered that she wouldn't eat it, but her body betrayed her. Wow, this is actually so good. Just as she was marveling, a pair of shadowy hands stirred in the darkness. In an instant, swarms of bees poured out from the forest. Perhaps because of the sweets she had just eaten, every single one of them zeroed in on Xiao Tao, clinging to her no matter how she tried to shake them off. At that critical moment, Long Chenai stepped in front of his little sister. Right after, Long Chenlai shielded Xiao Tao as well, his voice steady. "Don't be afraid, Tao Tao. Daddy's here." With that he shouted, "Butler." The butler made a dazzling entrance. "Don't worry, young miss. Watch old Chen take care of them." Within moments the bees were wiped out completely. Even so, Xiao Tao trembled in Long Chenlia's arms, sobbing softly. "That was so scary." Long Chenlai murmured gently, "Don't be afraid. Daddy's here." Then his eyes snapped toward Long Chenai, sharp and cold. "Don't ever let this happen again." Misunderstood once more, Long Chenya's heart sank. "Father still won't accept me." As night fell, Xiao Tao went through her usual routine, washing up and getting ready to coax her villain dad to sleep. Ever since her eldest brother had returned, her father seemed like a different man. Every night he needed to hold her to fall asleep, no matter how much she tried to refuse. The little dumpling sighed inwardly. "This family really can't function without me, huh?" Just then Sister Kelly rushed in flustered. "Young miss, young master Yi asked me to call you to the lakeside. He says it's something important." Though Xiao Tao was full of doubts, she still nodded and agreed without hesitation. Xiao Tao reached the lakeside and looked around, only to realize her eldest brother was nowhere to be seen. Distracted for just a moment, her foot slipped, and she tumbled toward the water. At the last second, Long Chenai caught her, pulling her back from the brink. "Careful, little sister. The lakeside is slippery." With that, he gestured for Kelly to leave. Kelly bowed respectfully in acknowledgement. Before departing, she made a point to remind Xiao Tao to stay safe. Yet her tone carried an odd weight, sparking unease in Xiao Tao's chest. Thinking back, there had been a string of accidents lately. And strangely enough, all of them seemed to have started after her eldest brother's return. Seeing her lost in thought, Long Chenai tapped her nose lightly. "Tao Tao, what are you thinking about?" The little dumpling shook her head quickly. "I know nothing." But Long Chenya's smile said otherwise. "You're wondering why I always show up right when you're in danger, aren't you? Tao, are you starting to doubt your big brother too?" Long Chenya's words made Xiao Tao's heart tighten. She remembered how the novel described her eldest brother, always smiling with disarming warmth, luring his enemies into the abyss the moment they let down their guard. Could all of his gentleness now be fake as well? But then, why did her big brother look so lonely in this moment? After all, he had been raised under their grandfather's roof since childhood, and because of that, even their father seemed wary of him. With no real sense of belonging on either side, perhaps what he wanted most was for someone to choose him without hesitation. With that thought, Xiao Tao boldly said, "Big brother, I believe in you." The answer caught Long Chenai off guard. He couldn't understand why she trusted him. "Because every time, big brother, you've protected me just in time." At her words, a soft, indulgent smile tugged at his lips. "Thank you, little sister." But before the warmth between them could last, Xiao Tao was suddenly shoved hard from behind, her small body plunging straight into the lake. And to her utter shock, the one who pushed her was none other than Kelly, the sister she trusted the most. The moment Xiao Tao was shoved into the water, Long Chenai didn't hesitate. He leapt in right after her. He fought desperately to reach her, whispering over and over, "Don't be afraid," even though he himself couldn't swim. He thought sheer willpower would be enough to drag her back to shore, but at the critical moment his leg cramped, his entire body losing strength. Just as the two little ones sank into despair, Long Chenlai arrived, diving in with a single powerful leap. In seconds he had hauled both children out of the water. On the shore, Long Chenai doubled over, coughing violently from the water in his lungs, while Xiao Tao lay unconscious. Panic twisted Long Chenlia's face. He turned sharply toward his eldest son. How could you?" Racked with guilt, Long Chenai lowered his head. "Father, I'm sorry. I failed to protect my sister." The boy braced himself for punishment, but what came instead was a scolding laced with love. "You knew you couldn't swim, so why jump in? What if something had happened to you too?" At first, Long Chenai thought he had misheard. But when he caught the genuine concern in his father's eyes, he realized his father had truly been worried about him. I'll deal with you after Tao Tao recovers. Now go call the doctor." In the hours that followed, thanks to the doctor's full efforts, Cao Cao was finally pulled back from the brink of danger. The moment her eyes fluttered open, the first thing she saw was her villain dad's anxious face hovering over her. "How do you feel, Cao Cao? Anywhere still hurt?" The little dumpling waved her hand casually, trying to reassure him. "I'm fine." But as soon as she said it, her eyes darted around the room, searching desperately for her big brother. Seeing this, Long Chenlai couldn't help but bristle with jealousy. "What's this? You just woke up and all you care about is that boy? Did he threaten you?" Startled, Cao Cao shook her head quickly. "No, Daddy. Big brother saved me. Please don't punish him." Her flustered defense made Long Chenlai chuckle, the corner of his lips lifting. "But I saved you too. Why don't I see you caring about me this much?" Without missing a beat, Cao Cao flung herself into his arms, showering him with exaggerated affection. "Because my daddy is the best and the most handsome." That trick left Long Chenlai completely defenseless. His face flushed red at once. Seizing the moment, Cao Cao asked anxiously about her big brother's whereabouts, terrified her villain dad might have misunderstood and already cast him out of the family. What she didn't know was that her 3 brothers had been hiding by the doorway all along, only speaking up once they saw she was safe. Spotting her eldest brother still at home, Xiao Tao finally let go of the fear gripping her chest. Long Chenai felt deeply grateful to his sister for speaking on his behalf, and he even turned to thank his father. But Long Chenlai only turned his face away with prideful arrogance, ordering the butler to prepare ginger cola to ward off the chill. Watching his father's sharp tongue hide such a soft heart, Long Chenai felt a rare warmth stir inside him. Xiao Tao couldn't help covering her mouth with a giggle. Her big brother and father were finally starting to get along. She didn't know why, but at least it was moving in a better direction. Once the moment passed, Long Chenlai returned to his stern self. "Tao, did you see who pushed you?" The little dumpling was just about to name the culprit, when the culprit herself walked right in, crying out in a false display of concern. "Young miss, thank heavens you're safe. If anything had happened to you, how could I ever live with myself?" Xiao Tao was dumbfounded. "Sister Kelly, what kind of act are you putting on now?" After 2.5 seconds of stunned silence, she shot up and pointed straight at the maid. "It was her. She's the one who pushed me into the lake." But the maid Kelly was ready. She burst into tears, crying her innocence. "I've worked in the Long family since I was a child. Only recently was I assigned to care for the young miss. I treasure this job. Why would I ever harm her?" Xiao Tao finally witnessed what it meant to lie through your teeth. "Sure, keep going. I'll hand you an award for Best Actress later." Kelly pressed on with her performance. "I only escorted the young miss to the lakeside and left. How could I have pushed her? If anything, these accidents only started after the eldest young master returned." With that, she even tried to step forward and embrace Xiao Tao. But Long Chenlai shoved her back with one hand. "The old man must be getting senile if he thinks a mere servant can sow discord between us. I trust my son. Can you handle this?" Long Chenai bowed slightly, a faint smile on his lips. "Leave it to me." With that, he seized Kelly's hand. "Sister Kelly, why is your hand swollen with bee stings?" "Of course it was from the bees, today in the forest," she stammered. Seeing Kelly still trying to argue, Long Chenai pulled a silk scarf from his pocket. "I investigated. Today's bees don't sting without provocation, so no one else was harmed. But when I checked the scarf my sister wore while eating, I found it coated with a special pollen, the very kind those bees are drawn to. I suspect when you tied this scarf on her, your hands picked up the pollen as well. That's why you were stung." Kelly's face drained of color. She yanked her hand back in panic. "It was just an accident. You have no proof, you can't slander me." Long Chenye's gaze hardened, still refusing to admit it until the coffin's nailed shut. His eyes flashed as he ordered, "Third brother, turn off the lights." In an instant, faint glows shimmered across the children's clothes. Long Chenlai stared in shock, baffled by the sight. Xiao Tao stuck out her tongue. "Hee, Daddy, it's because I wanted to see fireflies. But since there weren't any in the manor, second brother sprinkled fluorescent powder in the air to make some for me." At that moment, Long Chenai seized Kelly's hand again and told his sister to turn around. Xiao Tao obeyed, revealing a clear handprint glowing on her back. "Sister Kelly, if it wasn't you, then let's match this handprint to your palm, shall we?" Realizing her excuses no longer worked, Kelly suddenly drew a knife from behind her back, ready for a desperate fight. It's all your fault. Why did you betray the master? This is the fate of betrayers. I'm done living as a puppet on strings. Those days of endless darkness, let someone else suffer them. The blade was about to slash down, when Long Chenlai struck with a single kick, sending her sprawling to the floor. At that moment, guards rushed in from outside, having heard the commotion, and swiftly restrained Kelly. Xiao Tao, who had witnessed everything, gazed up at her father with shining eyes. Daddy Dino? That move of yours was so cool. Long Chenlai looked almost embarrassed. Was it? Meanwhile, the captured Kelly still shouted defiantly, Don't celebrate too soon. You'll never defeat the master. Long Chenlia's fury erupted as he glared daggers at Kelly. Go back and tell that old man, if he so much as touches a single hair on my children's heads, I'll make him pay dearly. The sheer force of his aura made Kelly tremble uncontrollably, fear rooting her to the spot. And one more thing, tell him I will not be returning. Uneasy, Long Chenai asked softly, Father, does this mean I really don't have to go back to grandfather's? Instead of answering directly, Long Chenlai crouched down, gently inspecting the wound on his son's forehead. The sudden concern left Long Chenai flustered. The wound isn't too bad. Have you always thought I disliked you, that I didn't trust you? A faint smile curved Long Chenlia's lips, his gaze softening. I've always trusted you. Xiao Tao blinked in confusion. Then Daddy, why didn't you want Big Brother to come to the villa before? Long Chenlai frowned. Because I know the old man would force you to do things against your will, especially things involving Tao Tao. By staying away, you don't have to go along with him. I'm sorry. Long Chenya's quiet, obedient reply made hearts ache. He even felt it was only natural for him to endure such treatment. Hearing this, Xiao Tao reached out and tapped her big brother on the head, retorting with mock fierceness, Who said the eldest has to suffer? Whether it's third brother, second brother, or even fourth, none of you should suffer. Her words struck home and all the brothers nodded in agreement. Long Chenlai, however, couldn't help but feel a pang of jealousy at how much she fussed over them. With a sigh, Xiao Tao tapped her father's head this time. Daddy's a big dummy, never says what he means and just makes big brother misunderstand. Long Chenlai pinched her cheek affectionately, chuckling. Little rascal, your courage is growing, huh? Having figured out her villain dad's temper, Xiao Tao only grew bolder, pulling funny faces at him. Suddenly, Long Chenlia's expression darkened. Why did you sneak out to play in the middle of the night without telling me? Long Chenyi quickly grabbed his father's hand and pleaded, Daddy, if we told you, you definitely wouldn't have let us go. It was too late. Long Chenlia's heart softened instantly, though he still clicked his tongue twice, pretending to be stern. Enough with the whining. Xiao Tao leaned in, cupping his face and planting a kiss. Daddy's not allowed to be mad anymore. Inside, Long Chenlai was overjoyed, but outwardly he forced himself to stay composed, clearing his throat. I was only worried about you. Next time, call me along. Seizing the chance while her villain dad relented, Xiao Tao piped up, then let's go see the fireflies again. And so, Long Chenlai led the little ones down to the lakeside. They didn't return to the villa until all four were exhausted and drowsy. He had intended to settle Xiao Tao first and then send the others to bed. But when he turned around, their soft snores were already filling the room. Helpless, he tucked them all into Xiao Tao's bed, carefully pulling the blanket over them. Just then, a small hand clutched at his sleeve. Lowering his gaze, he saw Long Chenai mumbling in half-sleep, Daddy, don't leave me. Staring at their sleeping faces, Long Chenlai made a silent vow. From this day forward, he would always stay by their side. Once he was sure they were all safely asleep, he closed his eyes as well, drifting into the same sweet dream. Meanwhile, at Long Chenghuo's villa, the old patriarch slammed his chessboard to the floor in fury. Rebellious brats. Since they refused to obey, then it's time to set a brand new game in motion. Ever since Xiao Tao came to this world, she had finally gained something she never had before. A real home and a family that truly belonged to her. She grew more and more attached to this so-called villain family, because within it lay the warmth she had never known in her past life. Deep down, she made a vow, she would stay here forever. She knew her grandfather would never let things go easily. On her 7th birthday, her wish remained the same, to protect her family and keep them from becoming cannon fodder in the story. Happy birthday, Xiaotao. Her 3 brothers piled up gifts so high they looked like a little mountain. Xiaotao thanked them sweetly, her smile as bright as sunshine. Then she saw her villain dad approach, carrying a small red velvet box. Her heart skipped with both excitement and expectation. Long Chinny clicked his tongue from the side. Dad's so stingy. That box is tiny. What kind of gift is that? But one sharp glare from Long Chenlai silenced him instantly, and he shut his mouth in defeat. When the box was opened, lying inside was a star-shaped necklace. The tiny diamonds sparkled like shattered starlight, so dazzling it was hard to look straight at. Xiaotao gasped in delight. Stars are my favorite. Long Chenlai immediately fastened the necklace around Xiaotao's neck, murmuring, "As long as you like it." Xiaotao lowered her gaze to admire the necklace, falling more in love with it the longer she looked. She couldn't resist planting a kiss on her father's cheek. "Thank you, Daddy." Her brothers instantly clamored for the same treatment, so Xiaotao puckered her lips and blew 3 playful kisses into the air. "Thank you, big brother, second brother, and third brother." Just as the room filled with laughter, the butler hurried in. "Sir, the master has sent an invitation. He says it concerns important family matters and the young masters and miss must attend." Long Chenlia's brows furrowed. "That old man again. What's he plotting this time?" The butler lowered his voice. "Word is, the master intends to arrange a marriage alliance with the Murong family." Xiaotao's heart tightened. Could grandfather be trying to bring us a stepmother? In an instant, all 3 brothers erupted, voicing their objections against the idea of marriage ties. Long Chenlai met their eyes with firm resolve. There will be no stepmother. On the day of the banquet, Xiaotao arrived dressed in a beautiful princess gown. Long Chenyi suggested, "If grandfather announces a marriage alliance, I'll cause a scene. Let the Murong family see we're not to be trifled with, then they'll back off." To his surprise, everyone agreed with the plan. As soon as they entered the grand hall, their grandfather waved over. "Come meet Mr. and Mrs. Murong." Following his gaze, Long Chenlai spotted the couple, and beside them, a young woman smiled and nodded politely at him. His face darkened instantly. "Father, don't even think about it. I won't let you get your way." Long Chenghuo only sneered. "Humph. You think I'd even need your approval?" Before Long Chenlai could respond, the old man raised his voice to address the entire hall, announcing, "The Long family and the Murong family will form a marriage alliance. Miss Murong Wanqing will choose one of my 3 grandsons to be her betrothed." The 3 brothers froze, stunned. The gossip they thought they were watching had suddenly landed on their own heads. Xiaotao's heart clenched tight as recognition struck her. Murong Wanqing, the heroine of the original story. It was because of her that the 3 brothers eventually turned on each other, step by step falling into darkness.